This is like the underground party of Pocket Gamer Connects this time. So you found it. It's like one of those raves you used to go to ages ago. You go through the forest and you ended up here. This is the show that everybody's going to talk about afterwards and be pissed off that you went there, but they didn't. So just to congratulate yourself. And thanks, Chris, for making a big fuss about this one. So I'm going to, because with the theme being this underground rave thing, before explaining what the hell PechaKucha is, I'm going to play you an underground rave song as a result. So now they're all gathering. It's like the gathering of the tribes. Without further ado, I give you Birdstorm. Come on, pump it up. So indeed, we have answered the question, what do you get when Darude meets Rovio? And that's exactly what you get. You will hear, now I know everybody's dying to understand what's going to happen at the end of that song, and you'll find out tonight, because it will be playing, hopefully, at least once at the party. Maybe it'll play all night. So PechaKucha, I know this is what you've been waiting for all day, and we have a fantastic lineup of speakers. But before that, let's answer the question, what is PechaKucha? It's quite simple. It's a format originating from the early 2000s, Tokyo. PechaKucha, the word itself is supposed to mean like the buzzing sound of a gathering where a lot of people talk. And the format came from the architectural or architect scene in Tokyo, where they presented stuff to each other in a relaxed format, in a new format. And it's quite simple. It's 20 slides, 20 seconds per slide, and they all run automatically forward. So there's no clicking, and there's supposed to be no texts on the slides. And some people sometimes break that rule, and I don't like it. And there's also not supposed to be any GIF animations, and people break that rule as well. But you know, it's actually even more fun like that when you know the rules and you start breaking them. The lineup is amazing yet again. Martin is really breaking the rules with his IMGA advertorial. Very nice. Who else? We have Dante's Kickstarter with Oscar by Mark Sorrell. And then what the? That wasn't supposed to happen. And then another by Eric Seufert. Very long titles. But these guys have done this a few times. They tend to, with every time, they tend to make less of a fool out of themselves, and pressure. It turns out to be quite fun. So without further ado, I'm going to pass the mic on to Martin, who will kick things off with his... Huh? Beers at the back. Yeah, sorry about that. So with the underground rave theme, there at least used to be beers in the back. They're there now. So I do encourage everyone to have a beer, relax, kick back. It's been a long day. And again, this is what you've been waiting for. So Martin, get up on stage. So, cue his slides. Well, that's not it. Ah, okay. Go.
No, here.
Go, Martin.
Yeah. So I'm Martin Noyels, founder of imgawards.com. So we will soon launch our competition here in Europe on the 30th of December. I've started this in 2004, and I saw the industry grow from 1 billion to 30 billion. and you could actually see it growing. You know, the games are growing, everything's growing. It was driving everybody crazy, and right now we're looking at an industry of 30 billion. We've launched 4 competitions this year: IMJ China, IMJ West, IMJ Southeast Asia, and Middle East and North Africa. It's all happening this year, so we've grown tremendously. And the industry has grown, as I said, tremendously as well. 200K games, and now there are games coming out that are, you know, weighing over 3 gigabytes. In 2005, we had 85 entries. Now we're looking at 2,000 games to be judged in 2016. It's true that the number of game releases have grown tremendously. It's driving everybody crazy. There are too many games. And we have the feeling that the gate is closed. But we've been in that situation before when the operators were dominating the industry. They closed the gate and nobody was going to reach their customers. And right now we're in a similar situation where the platforms are messing things up with their app stores. And there's an avalanche of games that nobody will ever see. Only some of them will actually be played and will actually make some money. There's also an avalanche of technologies, new challenges, game analytics, artificial intelligence, AR and VR, and robots. Look at these robots. The technology is going so fast. It's very difficult to keep up with them. Robots are running around, you know, they will be serving us in Japan. The older population is going to be served by these robots, and probably we're going to be served by them as well. In Japan, by the way, there are more diapers for old people sold than for new babies that are born in Japan. I read that just today. It's amazing what is happening in the world. This is more than 20 seconds. I'm cheating again. I'm cheating again. So what's happening in AR is very interesting, and in VR, the investment, the big growth that you see here, 852 million. Most of that was Magic Leap's investment in the beginning of 2016. But actually, you see that the investment in AR and VR is already going down. The actual new trend is AI. So computers are, you know, the development of AI is going so fast that they're beating us with games. This is actually, you know, the Google DeepMind playing Atari, and beating everybody with video games. So actually, computers are beating us everywhere. And this is an interesting slide. So this is Jesus. So this slide explains what is actually happening. So one Jesus is everything we knew up until the birth of Jesus. It took until the 15th century to get to 2 Jesus. Right now, we have a Jesus every 12 months. So it means that the same kind of knowledge is duplicating every year, and it's you know, we are in an enormous acceleration of knowledge, of technology, and things like that. But you can ask yourself, what the fuck? What is this guy talking about? And what is our industry all about? Is it about capturing users and getting a lot of money out of them and boring them with a lot of ads? Is this what this is all about? Or is it about something else? You know, getting them addicted, getting them to pay for their in-app purchase? Or is it about something else? Is it about, you know, technology and something else? You know, fun, for instance, or art? I think it's something like this. You know, this is a guy who's putting his robot in a situation that is really funny and that's really enjoyable. So I think our industry should be about fun, about art, and about technology. And it should be about exploring these 3 areas, exploring you know, new dimensions in art, like an artist is doing, you know, trying out new things. checking out all the new technologies, using all the new technologies that is available, and make our industry fun again. I took this from Donald Trump. I hope he doesn't mind. But bring the fun back into the game industry, I think is very important. The exploration of new art. Go to an art show, go to a modern museum. A lot of the games that we are reviewing, a lot of the 3,000 games we're reviewing, they look completely alike. They're using similar techniques, similar ways to use technology. I was in Stockholm last week, and I discovered this. I already knew of her work, Kazuma, who is completely obsessed with dots. And I walked in her labyrinth and viewed the exhibition. It's extremely inspiring to look at what's happening in modern art. Look at the possibilities of artificial intelligence. The possibilities of creating characters who you can actually interact with, you can communicate with, and who are saying something back. You can build a relationship with. It's really fascinating. Look at what's happening with Pokemon Go. Now, there's a lot of criticism possible, of course, on Pokemon Go, but it gets people out there and explore new ways to play video games. And I think Pokemon is opening doors for new exploration, like, of course, location-based games, but also other areas. It shows that people are hungry for innovation. And I think our industry is about using technology for fun. And by doing that, I think our industry plays a key role in the future, where technology is becoming more and more important. It's going to be everywhere. Thank you very much.
Good job, Martin. Do you want to? I'm not going to steal your laptop from you. So next up, we have a gentleman who's probably not a stranger to anyone, man with the top hat, Oscar Clark. I actually neglected to introduce myself in the beginning, which was a dumb mistake. Hi, there was a reason why Rovio liked the Darude thing. I run games in the daytime when I'm not hosting PechaKucha Sessions. I run games at Rovio. Pleasure to meet you. And with that, cue Oscar's slide. There you go.
Just wait for my notes to turn up. That's not helpful. Okay, midway upon the journey of my life, I found myself within a dark forest, for the straightforward pathway before me was lost. With Ella Romanus, we had decided to take our game, the Rocky Horror Show, Touch Me, to Kickstarter. This was our descent into hell. At Hell's Gate, we came across Cerberus, the three-headed beast, which can only be satisfied by preparation, preparation, and preparation. We had started planning in December, and we had content for every day. We had a US-based PR agency, theatrical PR expert, a whole bunch of everything was there. Surely there would be no problem. Then we hit that stage of hell known as limbo. 3 weeks before Kickstarter, I was diagnosed with emergency appendectomy and stuck in a hospital in the NHS for 54 hours waiting for surgery. We hadn't yet produced our Kickstarter video, and 2 weeks left, we managed to scrape everything together. But we had to face the next level, lust. Obviously, Rocky Horror is a product of passion, and we reached out to those people who are devotees of pleasure, the Rocky Horror community. And of course, nothing could possibly go wrong. We waited for Charan to come and help us to cross the River Styx, and we managed to get extensive press coverage, actually. 69 pieces of press coverage. We even managed to get into Gay Times. As a straight man, that is the triumph of my life. Thank you. See, you know where I'm coming from. But great news. Within a week, we had managed to raise all of 22% of our target. And in just 7 days, you could make me a game. No, sorry, wrong thing. Yeah, we had actually an average of over $80, I think, no, $60 at the time. But most of it was friends and family. That was when we started to get a little nervous. And we reached that level of hell known as sloth. When everything stopped working, people stopped buying anything, and nothing happened for the next week. 2 or 3 backers a day, about nothing else. So we started begging. And we started to offer more and more content. Surely that was all we needed. We had to create more and more media outreach. We had to be busy marketeers telling everybody how great this was. LinkedIn, Facebook, these would be our saviors, wouldn't they? But unfortunately, there was no conversion. Our boat was sinking. Anger, frustration. We reached that point in hell. Nothing was working. Nothing I've ever been trained to do in marketing made a single difference. So, what do we do now? We had to reach out. We had to reach out and reach that level called despair. We went back to the investors, told them we couldn't make it, told them it was time to cancel. But fortunately, they had faith. Their faith told us an important phrase straight out of that immortal movie, "Stay on target." That literally was what our investor said, "Stay on target." So we kept with it. And this is the important thing. It's so easy at that point to get hope and to get caught up. And we actually managed to get something really momentous. The UK cast of the tour asked us for T-shirts, which we sent them, and they got lots of tweets, and fantastic. Really, this is going to give us hope. This is really going to work for us. We were going to make it. We were going to be okay. But nothing happened. We got nothing. No one was getting to back this Kickstarter. This is hopeless. We needed to seek out charity. We needed charity. We needed help. So we reached out to the Rocky Horror fan community, tried to work out with them what was going wrong. What had we missed? Surely this is an obvious thing. It should work. The problem was we weren't converting the Rocky Horror fans to Kickstarter. So, of course, we reached that point where we need patience. We created a video explaining how to do Kickstarter. We created how to back us, blog posts. We did everything you could. We even started setting up a website where we could sell all these lovely items that we had on offer. So hopefully that would make it all work. Nothing worked. Nothing worked at all. So we're sitting there and we're really kind of getting stuck now. We had these great offers and we had these high-value items that we even had photos, original print photos from Mick Rock, the kind of classic rock photographer. These go for fortunes online. We had an exclusive image. Didn't work. Well, no, actually, that's not true. It did start working. And that's the interesting thing is we started to have some slow momentum. And we started to see bigger backers. We started to see that actually, although it was hard work, we actually reached 50% of our target. And we're starting to have some hope again. We were slogging, and it was a bigger and bigger effort all the time. And actually, what did we have to do? We had to make something happen. And at some point, we discovered kindness itself. 3 days to go before the end of the Kickstarter, and a miracle had happened. We passed our target. Thank you. But more than that, at the point that this happens, you suddenly think, hang on a minute, it's not over yet. There's still 3 days to go. What do? We've given everything away. We've burnt ourselves out producing video content and all these articles and blog posts and Twitters and all these other things. How are we going to keep this going? And we just had to keep pushing and pushing. And you don't know how tired you get when you get to the end of the Kickstarter, unless you've done it. And we knew we were going to be completely exhausted. But we made it. In the end, we got $39,656, 5K over our target. But of course, this is not the end. The codex to our tale, as we leave the inferno, is that this is the beginning of the next journey. Now we have to make the game. Thank you.
Emotion. So Mark Sorrell, who used to be consultant flying around the world, teaching us guys how to... teaching us guys all over the world how to make better free-to-play games. Eventually you ended up at Rovio, and now you head up product as vice president of product at Rovio.
None of that's in my talk, so...
Well, it's good that I introed you then. So I think Mark's talk is a little bit about the process of becoming an adult. And with that, cue Mark's presentation, please.
Something I know nothing about. All right, calm down, everybody. We've got a lot to get through, so, you know, similar. You've spent all day listening to talks by people who had genuinely trying to help you and provide genuine insight, something I have neither the ability nor the inclination to do. So instead, I'm going to talk about the most important video game of all time, which is Final Fantasy XII, and also about myself. If you don't know me, this is me last year. I have a very strict methodology for doing PechaKucha talks. They're fine as long as you plan them very carefully, but that sounds boring, so I fucked all that off. I've just improvised every single one I've ever done. Generally it's gone fine. This year I've decided not to improvise and to write something, because last year my boss, Wilhelm Tat, decided to put this slide into the middle of my talk, sending me massively, I died, it was horrific. Anyway, since that last picture, not this picture, was taken, my life has gone completely bananas. In a variety of ways I'm going to tell you about now. One of the most important was that Wilhelm Tat, despite being evil, also displayed incredible judgment by making me vice president of product, which is an insane thing to do, but it's a job that nobody understands. What does it mean? What does it? Nobody knows. I can be lambasted or exalted at a moment's notice for literally any reason whatsoever. But it feels like a lot of responsibility, whatever responsibility I might be responsible for. Also this year I got married. That's me on the left. On the right is my wife, Naomi. No matter what she might say, she is my wife now. I got married 3 times, once in New Zealand, once in the UK, and then again in the UK, which makes me a kind of wedding whale, I guess. I've got a lot of retention for my displayed on it. And this piece of shit happened to me last year as well. I turned 40 2 weeks ago, right? And, you know, thanks. I'm not trying to say this led to prolonged periods of introspection and fear, and the fact that all these things happened together in the same year means that I'm undoubtedly at the peak of my entire life, and it's all downhill from here. But my life feels less like a rich tapestry, more like a dangling thread. But to add to that, I turned 40 during the Olympics closing ceremony, and I'm exactly 10 years older than Usain Bolt. We share a birthday on the last day of the Olympics, which just feels needlessly cruel. It's like Usain Bolt only exists to taunt me and point out how, oh, right, yeah, this is a games conference. So this is Strider, which when I was 13, my parents let me go and watch a movie on my own the first time, and I went to see Ghostbusters 2, and it was shit. But this was in the lobby, and it was the greatest game of all time. I was completely amazed by it in every way, but now it's not, and this is much better. This is Final Fantasy XII, and Final Fantasy XII is no, I'm going the wrong way in my notes. Oh, this is it. We're all fucked. We're fucked now. I can't get back. It's the greatest game of all time. People don't believe you when you say the 12th of something is the best, but in this case it genuinely is. And basically the vision is insane. This is a single-player MMO. That's what it is. It's exactly what it is. It doesn't make sense, but that's what it is. And it's about, you don't directly control the characters, you just tell them how to behave. The player uses a series of Boolean logic strings to tell the characters how to react in any given situation. You don't kind of fight with your hands, you fight with your brain. You develop an, all right, yeah. So this is the midpoint there's no kind of symbolism to this. At any point, this is halfway through the talk. And, you know, there's less to come than there's already been. I could have spoken about anything, couldn't I? But I've chosen now, and I have to talk about this because we're halfway through the... So it's gone already. It's moving so fast. So this is this is Magna Carta 2, the only game that ever stole from Final Fantasy XII. Magna Carta 2 is the 3rd in the series because of fucking course it is. And I think the idea of like teaching people rather than directly doing is something that makes enormous sense in the mobile games industry. It's something that we should genuinely be doing. I apologize, it's a bit vaguely sincere. But here's a game that does that. This is Non-Stop Night. We all recognize that, right? Yep. Well done, good. So this is Diablo without you having to press buttons and shit just explodes anyway. And it does 2 things really well. One of which is that all the cool things happen when you're not playing the game. And the second of which is that you just tell it how to play. This game, Farm Away, we all recognize that as well, right? This game is all about what happens when you're not there, right? I mean, they made this in 25 minutes. It's extremely brutal, but it's horrifically addictive. And it's a game very much about you just like making some decisions, then coming back later and finding out how much money you made as a consequence. And then this is Dungeon Rush. This is actual gameplay from Dungeon Rush. This doesn't have any, this is just, you turn up, you claim your daily prize, you set up your team, and then you go again. There is no combat. It's just a metagame. You just tell it how to play, and then it comes back later and tells you what happened. It doesn't have a core game. It's just meta. And then this is, you can tell what this is, Endless Frontier. This is amazing. It's a Korean game. It's completely insane. It's the best idle game I've ever played. It's got 23% D30 retention. So suck it, all of you, and me, and everyone. That's insane. Nobody has that. It's completely brilliant, and I absolutely love it into tiny pieces. That is my sister now. And that's my sister with her kids. Those are her kids, by the way, just to be clear. They're not just some kids, they're her kids. And I don't have kids of my own yet. I literally only just got married. I mean, I'm working on it, but give me time, okay? But I know that they're going to become massively important to me. And here's all the people I work with every day. And they're kind of cool. This picture was taken at our summer party this year to celebrate how we're doing something I can't probably talk about because revenue's good, it's good. But it's like, these are the people whose success I care about. Not me, but them, right? So what maybe I'm trying to say is that the people who play games now are parents and managers and leaders, apparently. No, not really. Games too can grow up and give us these experiences of to see our successes playing out in the lives of others rather than our own. And by giving direction, instead of achieve this is the final slide, black and there's nothing, and it doesn't mean anything, I'll be fine.
There's I guess an explanation is in order for the hat. The hat is going to, it's funny and it's going to remain funny until shit really hits the fan in the US. At that point, we've decided if that happens, we're going to have a little bit of a bonfire outside of the office and get rid of the joke because the joke ain't going to be funny anymore. So the hat is funny until that point. Let's hope that that point doesn't come. Next up is Eric Seufert. He runs now Heracles, UA consultancy, performance marketing consultancy, and he wrote the book about freemium economics. He's a known gentleman, I think, to pretty much everyone in the room, and he also does stand-up comedy sometimes in his free time. So with that, cue Eric's slide. Here we go.
Members of the board and executive management, everyone knows how important a game launch is. It's where we decide whether it will live forever in a state of permanent luxury or whether it will dwell in obscurity and wretched destitution. This 7-day launch period is critical, and I'm proud to present my team's launch plan for Happy Fuzzy Matchy Soda Swap-Free Puzzle Clash game. We labored long and hard on this launch plan, and if I do say so myself, it is bulletproof. Which brings me to step 1, featuring. Big time featuring. 10 million users minimum, and you can take that to the bank. Step 2 is Twitter. It turns out you can pay celebrities to tweet about your game. I don't have a Twitter, and I don't know how to Twitter, but we found a celeb with 10 million followers who will tweet for $300,000. 10 million more downloads for us. You can take that to the bank. Now these numbers are starting to get pretty big. In fact, the calculator on my desk can't even compute that high. Some geek in the UA department sent me some boring spreadsheet, but that's not how you plan a launch. I have banned spreadsheets from the office. We need communication, leadership, and a can-do attitude, not some complicated spreadsheet. Oh, I forgot to mention the other thing we need, creativity. We actually outsource that. Who knows our users better than a 26-year-old who wears a fedora and funny yet still office-appropriate socks? They told me they're going to take us viral, whatever that means. The agency suggested we film a shot in Thailand, a spot. I know what you're thinking, sounds expensive, but at $600,000, it's a steal. And I'll be there the whole time to supervise and ensure that they stay on budget. To keep costs low, I rented a beach bungalow instead of the Four Seasons. One of the nerds in the analytics department mentioned something about retention, and I couldn't agree more. We need to retain our commitment to getting 300 million installs in 7 days. If we don't do that, we are doomed. So as far as retention goes, I fully retain my enthusiasm for this huge launch. And speaking of analytics, can we fire those guys already? When I was at McKinsey covering the dairy sector, I didn't need some sweaty crew of number crunchers to tell me how to tell people to make more money. Sell more eggs. In our case, sell more happy, fuzzy, soda, swap, free puzzle clash game. And how do we do that? Boom, TV commercial. For just $5 million, we can run our Thailand spot in the US 26 times in major markets. And we have a heavy hitter directing the Thailand spot. Remember those Budweiser What's Up commercials? We got that director, his brother-in-law. You know what else is a big market? India. How big? 1.3 million people. Now picture this. Every single one of them installs our game and pays us 10 euros. You know what happens next? We upgrade the executive jet and do what we've had on our management goal list for 2 years. Gold plate the toilet. China, covered. We have a local partner who says we're going to make a ton of money. You know how big China is? Neither do I, but it's big. I read an article about it on VentureBeat. Okay, I didn't read that. I had my secretary read it out loud to me while I was doing push-ups. Branding. You know what's better than money? Mindshare. We hired a Thinkfluencer to handle our brand eruption for the launch. He seems smart. He wears glasses and his name has an accent in it. He cost us $70,000 and delivered his report on a leather scroll. He said we should do some events to drum up installs. He suggested Comic-Con because those people love superheroes, and one of the characters in our game wears a cape. I didn't know much about superheroes, so I watched Batman vs. Superman, and I was blown away. Awesome movie. But you know what's not awesome? This free-to-play thing. I read a Polygon article about it, and it sounds like a total scam. So I suggest we make everything in the game free and just charge $1 to download it. Okay, I didn't read that article in Polygon. My secretary read it to me while I was doing push-ups. But hear me out. If we add up all the people in China, plus all 1.3 million people in India, plus the 50 million people that see our TV ad, we can do the second thing we've had on our management goal list, which is to make it rain from our executive jet. But before we do that, we need to discuss the game name. Happy, fuzzy, matchy, soda, swap, free puzzle clash game. It sucks. So we paid an ASO consultant $90,000 and he gave us this. Royale Strike Uber HBO game of war matches in Pandora's Tinder Toy Blast. After we change the name, we'll of course need to film a new TV spot to produce what Donald calls a brand apocalypse singularity event. I'm not sure what that means, but he delivered his plan by painting it on a canvas. He also explained how game launches work. In a beautiful metaphor, when you hang glide, you start at the highest point you'll ever be at and slowly descend. He explained that to me on a 6-day marketing team hang gliding offsite. But that metaphor gave me an idea. We should go Android only. Do you know how many people have an Android phone? Neither do I. But I read an article that said it's huge. I like huge stuff. Elephants, Mount Everest, jumbo jets, Jupiter, Andre the Giant. But you know what huge thing I like the most? Huge money. And when we make huge money on this game, we can do the third thing we've had on our management goals list. Toilet paper made of money. Yes.
Wow. Very good. With that, big round of applause to all the PechaKucha pros.